Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so in this paper, I'm basically going to be looking at kind of a range of different projects I've been working on over the last sort of 12 months or so, really. So it's kind of a bit of a mixture of different things, and I'll sort of do a few slides and talk about each of them for a few minutes, basically. So there's a 2D game project, which I made in a week in Unity. There's some Arduino-based projects. There's a laser puzzle, as well as a Sega control pad adapter. And I've also been doing some bits on a Commodore 64, so some PETSCI graphics and some chiptune productions, as well as a DJ/VJ mix, which I did at Art Futura a while back. So all of these projects kind of relate to various aspects of my sort of trajectories of kind of creative practice, broadly related to kind of sound and visualization. But some of these projects are also kind of related to stuff I've been doing with lecturing. So sometimes I do kind of projects and things partly so that I have stuff that I can use in examples for modules that I'm teaching to kind of show the students how you could do certain things and different types of stuff that you can do. So they also have kind of a pedagogical function in a sense as well. So I'll go right into it. And yeah, the first one is called Style Wars. So this is basically a 2D game project. So it was loosely inspired by graffiti culture, especially the work of New York graffiti artist Rammellzee, who's pictured on the right here. So this was a project I made in Unity. It's a kind of 2D action game, which I made rapidly in about a week, partly because that's as long as I had to do it. And it was used for a programming module that I was teaching as kind of examples. So I'll show you an excerpt of this one. So as you can see, it's kind of basically a sort of 2D action game. You play a protagonist who's loosely based on the character of graffiti artist Rammellzee, and you can kind of wander around these streets, kind of fighting people with your sword and using your magic and stuff like this. You'll collect items and things. It's all original pixel art and original music and things, kind of done in a sort of style that's a bit of a homage to games like sort of Streets of Rage. And yeah, that's about all I've got to say about that one, I think. So I'll move on to the next one. So yeah, the next one is the laser puzzle. So this was a Arduino-based project. So this was partly because one of the modules that I was doing was a installation development project, and students basically create puzzles for escape rooms and things like this. So I wanted to do my own kind of project in this kind of vein, which is using Arduinos. So basically what this project is this contraption here, which has 3 lasers pointing through these discs that you can kind of rotate. And basically when the lasers connect with photoresistors on the opposite side, it unlocks the puzzle when you complete it. So the challenge is to kind of rotate the discs until you find the right combination, basically. So yeah, basically as you rotate the discs, you can block the lasers or allow them to fire through holes to get to the other side. Yeah, and then that unlocks the puzzle, and then it does a kind of short audio-visual sequence where the lasers kind of flash in different orderings, but also at the same time it plays a tune which is programmed on a piezo. So I've programmed in basically different frequencies of sound and put those into a sequence. So the piezo will play a kind of short tune, but each note is also linked to a laser. So the lasers kind of flash in sequence with the notes, basically. And yeah, that's your kind of reward for completing the puzzle. I should say this project was a collaboration. So the construction of the frame was something I worked on with my dad. So he's got a workshop, and this was in the pandemic. I don't have kind of drills and things in my flat here, so yeah, he kindly helped sort of create the framework and things, and I did a lot. I did all of the kind of programming and the sort of design aspects and stuff like that. So this kind of links into part of the inspiration was from the VR video game Half-Life Alyx. So just to kind of show you, there's various. This is like one of the best sort of recent VR games, I think. Very kind of high production values, and it has these really interesting kind of laser-based puzzles in it, which you can see in these clips here. So this is kind of where the idea came from, and I liked the idea of sort of translating something from a sort of virtual game into something that was physical, basically.
Okay, no worries.
So you have these interesting puzzles, which basically have involve you kind of rotating things to let lasers pass through to the other side. So you can see that here in one bit of the game.
Give me a gun
and
anyway.
Also
that wasn't a gift.
Other ones like this, which are these really nice kind of spatial puzzles that involve kind of linking dots with lasers and things. So I was trying to think of basically how I could do something like this with actual lasers and sensors, basically. So that was kind of the inspiration. This is the configuration of the discs. So the holes have different organization. The discs have different organizations of holes, and you have to find the correct combination which allows the lasers to go through all three discs. So there's 64 possible permutations, and one of those is the solution. You rotate the discs, and the lasers go through. So this is some photos of what it looks like. This is with the smoke machine running in my flat, which has some drawbacks because you can set off your smoke alarms doing this kind of thing. But it's all good fun. You throw the windows open and yeah, ventilate the area. So yeah, these are some pictures of it, and just a short clip of it in action. This is without quite so much smoke going, but hopefully you can hear the audio on this. So just to move this one. So basically you rotate the discs, and then eventually when they connect, so then you get your little kind of laser light show. Obviously it looks much better with all the kind of lights off and all the smoke going and this kind of thing. So yeah, that's the laser puzzle. Then some other bits I've been working on as well. So I've been doing some demo scene bits. So just to kind of briefly explain what the demo scene is, because I'm not sure if everyone knows what the demo scene is. So if I kind of explain what I'm talking about first. Demo scene is basically a kind of international computer art subculture. So individuals and groups produce real-time demos which kind of demonstrate graphical music and programming skill. It's something that's happened since around the 1980s till the present. Popular ones are ones like Assembly in Finland and Revision in Germany. There's also now a demo scene strand of SIGGRAPH Asia, I think, as well. And a lot of this stuff has been done and is still done with what you'd now call kind of retro computers, so things like Commodore 64s and Amigas, as well as modern computer hardware and stuff. Instantly, demo scene has been recognized as intangible cultural heritage recently by UNESCO within both Finland and Germany. And this is something that a group called the Art of Coding have initiated. There's a link to the website there. So there's a kind of move to, to basically to have demo scene recognized sort of across Europe as, a form of cultural heritage which is properly recognized. Just want to show you, this isn't one of my pieces, but just to kind of show you the kinds of things people are doing in demo scene. This is a 2016 production on ZX Spectrum. And it kind of shows you, the sort of thing that I'm talking about, I suppose. I'll just play a few seconds of this. So it gives you a little bit of a flavor. You can find lots of this stuff on kind of YouTube and stuff. There's lots of websites that kind of archive the disk images for this stuff as well. You can run it on emulators. You can run it on sort of original hardware, which kind of brings me on to my next bit. So one of the things which I did while I was kind of locked down was working through archiving some demo scene discs. So I acquired a box of about 200 Amiga discs, which were owned by someone who was producing stuff in the demo scene. And so basically I've been kind of working through this box. So a lot of the discs don't entirely work still, but some of them do. And a lot of the stuff is already kind of archived on various sort of demo scene websites. But there's some which are not. So I've been working through basically saving these as Amiga disk format with a view to kind of making those more sort of widely available if they're not already available. So it's part of kind of preserving, I suppose, parts of demo scene. So I've also been doing some of my own productions. So basically, I did some Petsky graphics. So Petsky is a character set used by Commodore 64 and various other Commodore computers. So you obviously have a kind of limited color palette that you have to work with and a limited character set. And a lot of demo scene events include Petsky competitions. So I had some which I put in for Revision 2020, 2021 and Transmission 64, which was one dedicated to Commodore 64. So loads of really great work at these. These were my small contributions. So that was the one for Transmission 64. There's also sort of a bit of a graffiti influence on these, and that was the one I had in Revision. Also did some SID tracks as well. So this is composing music on Commodore 64. This is composing it on the original hardware. So I'm using sort of tracker interface where basically you program your instruments and your sequences using kind of hexadecimal and this kind of stuff. So yeah, I had a tune which was Assembly Winter 21. Again, this is a live stream over Twitch because it was during the pandemic. Just to play you a short excerpt of that. then very briefly a bit of this one. This was the other one. So these are some of the other kind of things I've been doing. And then moving on, so project number 4 was a wireless Sega to Amiga controller adapter. So basically, yeah, so I was doing sort of playing around with an Amiga 1200, and a friend of mine gave me a wireless Sega Mega Drive pad. So this is like a kind of modern retro control pad, and it has the advantages of being sort of wireless and stuff, which is very kind of convenient. It's a good quality controller. So I wanted to basically use this with the Amiga 1200. So both of them use DB9 connectors, but the organization of the pins is slightly different. So these are the kind of tables which I explain more in the paper. But basically, what I designed was a device that remaps the use of the pins so that I can use the Sega pad on the Amiga. But it also adds a variable rate auto fire. So you have one button, which is your normal fire button. You have one button, which is your normal fire button, but with a variable rate auto fire, and your third button, which is button 2. So it basically gives you 3 buttons instead of the usual 2, where one of them is an auto fire. This is the original prototype on the breadboard. This is partly designed because I wanted to play Turrican 2, which basically has different weapons that you use by holding down the fire button versus using the auto fire. So this is an advantage of having them on separate buttons. It means you can play the game more effectively, and you can do so from the comfort of your sofa without having to be right near the computer because it's wireless. So this is inside the box, and that's what it looks like with the lid on. You've got LEDs inside which show you when the buttons and things are triggered, and the dial is the variable rate for the auto fire. This is it in action going into a device that simulates the. It shows you the buttons basically. It's like a joystick tester. So that's the changing the rate of the auto fire button. And then this is it applied to playing Turrican. So you've got your different buttons. Okay, and I think I've got just about time to quickly do the last one as well. So the last project was a DJ VJ performance, which I did at Art Futura London. Again, this was kind of, things were still mostly locked down when this happened. So a lot of it was kind of live streamed over Twitch, which is a shame. I would have liked to have done this in the actual venue, but that wasn't possible for me at that time. I think some of the stuff at Art Futura, they had a eclectic in London. It would have been nice to be there, but maybe another time. So this kind of extends some sort of stuff I've been doing for a while, where it's basically creating VJ sets with original visuals for existing music. So I mix a lot of kind of 90s breakbeat music and things like this, but then create my own kind of visuals to go with that. So I will show you a short excerpt of that. Okay, so So that kind of gives you a bit of a flavour, really. And obviously, with the last one, it's kind of there's a big sort of demo scene influence for the stuff I've been doing, kind of VJing as well. So it's a range of different projects, but for me, it's all kind of interconnected as well. And as I say, I sort of use this stuff, some of this stuff for various kind of courses I teach and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it basically.
Okay, thank you very much, John.